When Paul Cluver decided to turn apple business into a wine business and explore the potential of this untapped region that was Elgin, Burgundy was clearly in his mind, and that was a role model for him, both for Chardonnay and for the most difficult grape to do, which is Pinot Noir. Elgin, 2018 Estate Pinot Noir from Paul Cluver. This is the second in the range, the entry level being the Village. This is the Estate one, so Estate fruit. What do you have in the glass for this Pinot Noir?
I have a beautiful deep cherry color, but when I say deep, I'm only talking about the density of the hue and not the deepness of the color. It's still beautifully translucent. I can still read my notes through it. And then on the nose, oh, it's such an interesting wine because it's got that lifted, perfumed fruit character that makes Pinot so attractive. There's raspberry, but there's also what I find a scrubbiness. If you can imagine just taking a pinch of lavender leaves, pinch of rosemary leaves, and then some other scrubby, herby things from your herb garden, and then rubbing them between your hands and then just smelling them from a distance, I think you get that scrub. It's a real, almost lavender scrub character to it.
It's what people would call a bit herbe de Provence or a bit of Fynbos, if we want to be local?
Fynbos.
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 Absolutely. And then really, who was it who said Great Burgundy smells like shit? This doesn't smell like shit, but it has got an earthy undertone to it, which I think you French refer to as goutte de terroir.
Yeah.
And it's just a lovely wet earth character to it. On the nose, Pinot, as we've spoken about before, is all about the acidity. And this has a lovely fresh acidity that binds everything together. But there's also a nice tannin frame. It's kind of, how can I say it? It's an athletic tannin frame, but in an athlete that is not of the rugby player kind, more an athlete that's more of the tennis player kind who's quite nimble on his feet, or maybe he's a back and not a forward. And then really pointing out the class in this wine is the texture and the weight on the mid palate for me. What do you think?
I think people would be surprised to, the color is beautiful, but it's in a very lighter style of what people are expected to find, even for Pinot Noir in South Africa. But the contrast between this apparent lightness on the color and the palate weight, which is full. It's
Absolutely.
full, it's no astringency, but this grippiness, textured grippiness, that makes the wine belong, and that's supporting the fruit. And yes, you find these undertones of a more earthy, almost shroomy touch, more white mushroom than porcini type, but clearly that's a wine with great potential and surprising. And when I poured the wine, the color said, ooh, that's a pale side of what we've been assessing, but wow, on the palate, that's why Pinot always surprises the most blasé drinker, is sometimes what you see is not what you have.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. Thank you.